My parents raised my sister like a princess and me like her maid. For 24 years, I did her laundry, packed her lunches, and even worked to pay her rent. They said, sisters are born to sacrifice. On her wedding day, the groom's mother took a family photo and noticed something strange about my eyes. So she made one phone call. The hospital records changed everything. I have worked as a medical records technician at the Winona Valley Clinic in Winona, Minnesota for 6 years. My job is to read charts and to notice when the diagnosis does not match the medication, and to notice when a name and a date on a wristband do not agree with the entry on an intake form. I have flagged 846 charts in 6 years. My accuracy score is 99.8%. I did not know, until my sister's wedding day on November 8, that the chart I had walked past every morning of the last 6 years, in Box 4, Folder 47 of the sealed archive from the Winona County Hospital, was mine. I did not know it had been reading me my whole life. I'm Ivy Callahan. 32. I have been sleeping on a folding cot in the laundry room of my parents' house since I was 8 years old. Kylie has slept upstairs. Kylie is 30. Kylie was married on November 8 at the Wetherill family lake house north of town. I was not invited to the ceremony. I was invited to serve. The photograph that started everything was taken at 3:14 that Saturday afternoon by the groom's mother, whose name is Millicent Wetherall, and who had sat on the Winona County Hospital Foundation board with my biological mother for 27 years, without either of them knowing they were looking for the same baby. At 3:22 p.m. Millicent made one telephone call from the ladies' room. At 4:47 p.m., a woman in a black coat walked across the Wetherall lawn to where I was carrying a tray of empty champagne flutes back to the kitchen. She stopped 6 feet in front of me and looked at me for a very long moment. Her name was Vivian Redgrave. I did not know at 4:47 p.m. what her name was, or that she had lost a daughter at 3 months old in November of 1993, or that the daughter she had lost was not her daughter. I did not know that the chart I had been walking past every morning was the record of the wrong bed. Welcome back to Calm Life Stories. Drop a comment telling me where you are watching from and hit subscribe, because a chart this old needs witnesses to be read out loud, and I want you to be one of them. Let me take you back, not to the wedding, to the laundry room. I have slept in my parents' laundry room since I was 8 years old. The room is 9 feet by 7 feet. Kenmore washer. Kenmore dryer. A shelf for detergent. A folding cot my father Ellis set up on a Wednesday in October of 2001 because Kylie's princess-themed 6th birthday party required the guest bedroom for her friend's sleeping bags. The cot went up on a Wednesday. It came back down on a Sunday. Then it went back up. Kylie's twin bed had gotten too small for her. It was easier to give Kylie the guest room than to buy a bigger bed. It was easier to move me to the laundry room than to give Kylie a hand-me-down. The cot went back up. It did not come back down. I turned 9 on the cot. I turned 10. I turned 20. 2 months ago, when the ceiling fixture in the laundry room went out, my mother asked me to change the bulb because the electrician's fee was $90 and Kylie's wedding photographer needed the deposit that week. You are wondering why I stayed. I want you to know I have asked myself the same question for 8 years. The short answer is a document. When I turned 22, I got my first paycheck from the diner where I worked while I finished my records certification. My mother sat me down at the kitchen table that Friday night and put a piece of paper in front of me. She said it was a family loan agreement, that she and Ellis had co-signed my community college tuition, and that this document simply put a repayment structure in place. I signed it. I did not read it. I trusted her. That document was not a family loan agreement. It was a wage assignment. $600 a month came out of my paycheck for 8 years and went into an account that paid Kylie's private college tuition and then Kylie's first 2 years of rent in Rochester. I did not learn what I had signed until I was 30, and I asked a payroll clerk at the clinic why my direct deposit was 2 amounts. She showed me the assignment. It expired that October. I did not tell my mother I knew. I let it expire. 2 months later, my mother asked me to pay for Kylie's wedding photographer deposit, and I said no for the first time. And she made me sleep on the cot in the laundry room that weekend as a lesson. That was the summer I stopped asking myself why I stayed. That was the summer I started asking myself when I would leave. I want you to sit with that because it matters later. I was 6, the first time my mother told me I did not belong in a photograph. It was Kylie's 5th birthday. A cake. 3 pink candles. A white frosted tiara. I was told to stand by the coat closet with the cake plate in my hands so that I would not be in the shot. The photographer was a nice woman from the drugstore. She lifted her camera and asked what about the little sister. My mother did not look at me. Sweetheart, we needed the picture of Kylie clean. Sisters are born to sacrifice. Ivy understands. Nice line. Sunday school voice. I did understand. I understood at 6 the way children understand things adults think they cannot understand. I understood that there were 2 beds and I was in the wrong one. The photograph from Kylie's 5th birthday hangs on my mother's kitchen wall in a wooden frame. Kylie in the center, Ellis on her left, Marilyn on her right holding the cake. I am not in the photograph. What is visible, in the far right corner of the frame, is the toe of my left sneaker, which had been white in September and had turned gray by October because I had walked in the puddles to school every morning for 2 months in shoes that were a size too small. I want you to hold on to that shoe because it matters at 10:47 that Friday night in November. My father Ellis loved me the way a man loves someone he is not allowed to save. He did not touch my head at the dinner table. He did not correct my mother. He never asked why I slept in the laundry room. He put $20 in my school lunch bag every Monday morning for 6 years, without telling anyone. When my mother found the money in a sock drawer in my closet at 16 and asked me where it had come from, I told her the tooth fairy. My father, at the kitchen table, said nothing. His older brother was a Winona County Sheriff's deputy named Robert Callahan. Robert retired from the department in September of 1994 at 62. He then worked another 11 years part-time as a licensed private investigator out of a small office above the grain elevator in downtown Winona. He did not open a formal case on our family. He did what a retired cop does when something in his own bloodline does not sit right. He asked. Marla answered because he was family, and she was afraid of him. The day shift nurse answered because Robert had been the officer who found her missing dog in 1991, and she owed him. Marilyn gave Robert a photocopy of her 1993 checkbook register in September of 1994 herself, because Robert had told her he was helping the sheriff's office review pharmacy fraud in Winona and needed a random sampling of cash withdrawals from the previous year. He asked her. She gave it to him. She did not know what she was giving him. What she had given him was voluntary. That made it admissible. Robert did not confront my father because he could not stand the thought of what the confrontation would do. He did not go to authorities because he was retired and no case had been opened, and the statute of limitations for the crime he suspected was told only if he could prove concealment, and he could not prove it alone. He waited. He hoped one day a piece of paper would surface that would make his investigation useful. Then, in October of 2015, he had a heart attack, and it stopped him before the paper found him. I found out on the Friday night in the archive room what Robert had been mourning. Robert had left him an envelope. My father had taken it from Robert's attorney the week after the funeral. He had put it in the workshop safe. He had known for 10 years what was inside, and he had not been able to look at it. That envelope came out at 11:14 on the Friday night. But I am getting ahead of the record. Let me tell you about the bracelet. There is a small silver bracelet on my right wrist. Filigree chain. A small oval charm with the letter W engraved on the underside. My mother put it on my wrist for the first time on the day I turned 3 years old and told me, in the voice she used when she was performing kindness for a room, that it had been my grandmother's and that she had wanted me to have it. My grandmother on my mother's side had died in 1989. 4 years before I was born. I had never seen a photograph of her. I had never asked whose grandmother had worn the bracelet. My mother wore it on her own wrist for the year after I was born. The W is not for a Callahan grandmother. The W is for Winifred Redgrave. I did not know what my bracelet was until 10:22 Sunday morning at the Redgrave estate, when Vivian sat down across from me at her kitchen table and looked at my wrist for the first time in 32 years. If you have ever been the child raised in the wrong bed, comment the wrong bed below and hit subscribe, because I want you to hear how a woman knows a bracelet at 22 feet across a dining room table when she has not seen it in 32 years. But that came later. Let me back up to Kylie's wedding day. Kylie's wedding to Leo Weatherall was on November 8 at the Weatherall family lake house north of Winona. The Weatheralls own a marine parts distributor and 3 lakefront properties. Kylie had met Leo at a Chamber of Commerce mixer in Rochester 20 months earlier. Marilyn had rented her address for that mixer that cost $1,100. Marilyn told my father it was an investment in Kylie's future. When I found the receipt in the mail 2 days later, I did not say anything. I already knew what my mother's investments were. The wedding had 240 guests. Kylie had a bridal party of 6. I was not in the bridal party. I was in the kitchen with the catering staff in black slacks and a white shirt Marilyn had bought at Kohl's on Wednesday because the caterer had lost a server to the flu, and Marilyn had told me on Thursday in the voice she used for assigning chores. Ivy, you'll fill in. Sisters are born to sacrifice. You know this. Yes, Mom. I want you to notice what I did not say. I did not say I had taken the day off from the clinic without pay. I did not say I had bought a dress at Target for the reception on the assumption that I would sit at the family table. I did not say the dress was still in its bag on the folding cot in the laundry room. I said nothing. I served the wedding. At 3:14 that afternoon, Millicent Weatherall walked into the reception tent with a small silver digital camera in her hand. She had used it at every Weatherall family function for 18 years. She did not use her phone for these photographs. She had told her husband once that the phone screen did not let her see what she was looking at. She took 2 photographs of Kylie and Leo at the head table, one of her own family group. Then she asked the bride's family to gather at the arch of white roses at the front of the tent. Marilyn stood at the center. Kylie on her right. Ellis on her left. Marilyn beckoned to me at the catering table in the voice she used at church. Ivy, come get in the picture. Just this one. I set down the tray. I walked to the arch. I stood where Marilyn pointed, which was 2 feet behind the family group, at Ellis's shoulder. Black slacks, white shirt, low ponytail. Silver bracelet on my right wrist. Millicent lifted the camera, looked through the viewfinder, did not press the shutter. She lowered the camera, looked at me, looked past Marilyn, looked at me again. Then she raised the camera and took the photograph. Thank you, Callahans. She lowered the camera. Walked out of the tent. Across the lawn to the main house, upstairs to the ladies' room. Sat down on a velvet bench. took her phone out of her clutch, scrolled to a contact she had had for 27 years, labeled Vivian R. Placed the call. Vivian Redgrave picked up on the second ring. Vivian, I need you to sit down. I just took a photograph at Leo's wedding. There is a young woman in the bride's family, the bride's sister, 32 years old. Her name is Ivy. She is wearing your mother's bracelet on her right wrist. That's impossible. That bracelet was on my daughter's wrist when she left the hospital. I know. 1 minute 22 seconds. Ended at 3:24 p.m. Both phone logs are attached as Exhibit A to Beatrice Fenwick's case file. I did not know at 3:24 p.m. that a phone call had happened. I was refilling the ice bucket, thinking about the record for a patient named Miller whose warfarin dose I needed to verify Monday morning. Thinking about whether the electrician's $90 fee could wait until the next paycheck. Thinking about the fact that Marilyn had not, in the 28 years since the photograph on the kitchen wall was taken, ever put me in another one. At 4:47, a woman in a black coat and an emerald green scarf walked across the lawn. She stopped 6 feet in front of me and looked at me for a very long moment. She had one green eye and one gray-blue eye. The gray-blue eye is my left. The green eye is my right. I am so sorry to bother you at your sister's wedding. My name is Vivian Redgrave. I am an old friend of Millicent Wetherall's. I would very much like to buy you a cup of coffee tomorrow morning at my home. There is a matter I need to discuss with you that will take some time. It is not urgent tonight. It can wait until tomorrow. Please do not tell your mother I asked. She handed me a card. Cream cardstock. Small serif font. Bluff Road address. 12 miles north of town. What time? 10 a.m. There is a rear entrance through the garden. It is quieter. She turned, walked back across the lawn, got into a black sedan. The sedan pulled out of the drive. I put the card in the pocket of my black slacks. I did not tell Marilyn. I did not tell Ellis. I did not tell Kylie. I finished the reception at 11 p.m., drove home, walked past the kitchen where the birthday photograph hung on the wall, went into the laundry room, sat down on the cot, took the card out of my pocket, put it on top of the folded stack of towels beside the cot. Read the name 3 times. The Redgrave name I recognized. The Redgraves had owned the Winona County Hospital building since 1998, when they had bought it out of the closure and turned it into the Redgrave Memory Care Facility. Every Christmas, the Winona Valley Clinic sent a fruit basket to the Redgrave Foundation office as a professional courtesy. I had signed the delivery slip for the fruit basket for 6 years. I did not know at 11:47 p.m. on Saturday night what a Redgrave had to do with me. I would know by 10:22 Sunday morning. Stay with me, because the quiet part is where everything turns. I laid down on the cot in my parents' laundry room for the last time. I did not sleep. At 6 a.m., I got up, changed into the only pair of khaki pants I owned that were not pilled at the knees. Gray sweater. Brushed my hair. Did not put on makeup. Looked at the bracelet on my wrist. Drove north on Bluff Road at 9:30. The Redgrave Estate is a stone house built in 1924, set back from the Bluff Road behind a row of maples that had lost their October color and were standing bare in the November light. The rear garden gate was open. I walked through it. A woman in a housekeeper's uniform met me at a side door and led me through a hallway with framed black and white photographs on the walls and into a small sitting room with a fireplace and 2 chairs and a coffee table between them. On the coffee table were 2 things. The first was a small blue enameled cookie tin. The second was a black and white Polaroid photograph. Vivian Redgrave was standing at the window. She turned when I came in. Gray sweater, Slacks, no jewelry except a small silver locket on a chain around her neck. Ivy, thank you for coming. Please sit. I sat in the chair on the right. She sat in the chair on the left. She did not touch the tin. She did not touch the Polaroid. I need to ask you 3 questions. They will sound strange. I am asking them because I need to be sure. May I ask them? Yes, question 1. What is your birthday? August 12, 1993. Her hand moved to the locket at her throat, then back to her lap. Question 2. Do you know your mother's blood type? O positive. I have seen her medical chart at the clinic, and your father's. A positive. Question 3. Would you please turn over your right wrist and tell me what is written on the underside of the charm on your bracelet? I turned my wrist, unclipped the tiny charm, looked at the underside for the first time in 29 years. I had thought, as a child, that it was a swirl. It was a W. It's a W. Vivian closed her eyes for one full breath, opened them, reached for the Polaroid on the coffee table, turned it around so I could see it. Ivy, my mother's name was Winifred Redgrave. She died in 2020. She took this photograph in the nursery of the Winona County Hospital at 11:47 p.m. On August 12, 1993, she was visiting her only daughter after her only grandchild was born. There are 2 bassinets in the photograph. On the left is a bassinet with a name card that reads Baby Girl Redgrave. On the right is a bassinet with a name card that reads Baby Girl Callahan. My daughter is the baby on the left. Your parents' daughter is the baby on the right. The bracelet on your right wrist was on the wrist of the baby on the left when she was born. Someone in that nursery moved the babies between 11:52 p.m. that night when the second shift nurse clocked in, and 6 a.m. the following morning when I fed a baby I believed was mine. Ivy, I have believed for 32 years that my daughter died of SIDS at 3 months. I named her Julia. I buried her in the Winona Municipal Cemetery on November 14, 1993, under the name Julia Redgrave. The death certificate is in the county register. Anyone in Winona could have looked it up in the last 32 years. My husband signed it as the attending physician on the record. I need to test your DNA. I would very much like you to say yes. I want you to sit with that because it matters at 8:14 Thursday morning when the results come back. I looked at the Polaroid, at the bracelet on my wrist, at Vivian's mismatched eyes. Yes, Beatrice Fenwick is my attorney. She is downstairs. She has a chain of custody kit. She will do the swab. The kit will go to Rochester DNA Diagnostics this afternoon by courier. Results in 5 business days. She will need to see your ID and take your signature. May we do that now? Yes, Vivian stood up, walked to the door, paused with her hand on the frame. Ivy, I have to tell you one more thing before we go downstairs. I need to say it now because I cannot say it after the results come back. In November of 1998, I served on the Winona County Hospital Foundation's door-to-door fundraiser. Millicent and I walked a route together on the north side of town. We knocked on the door of a house on Sycamore Street. A woman named Marilyn Callahan opened it. She was holding a 5-year-old girl in gray sneakers. The girl had one green eye and one gray-blue eye. I looked at the child. I said, without thinking, her eyes remind me of my late husband. Your mother closed the door. Millicent and I walked to the next house. I did not think about the child again for 27 years. I thought about her yesterday afternoon at 3:24 p.m. I have been thinking about her ever since. I am so sorry, Ivy. I am so sorry I did not knock again. She left the room. I sat with the Polaroid in my hand, looked at the bassinet on the left, looked at the bracelet on my wrist, looked at the letter W. I did not cry. That was training. The DNA kit went to Rochester on Sunday afternoon by courier. Chain of custody sealed by Beatrice Fenwick in her satchel. She wrote the case number in a leather notebook. She wrote my name next to it. She wrote Vivian's name above it. I drove home Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. And I walked into my parents' kitchen. Marilyn was standing at the counter cutting an apple with a paring knife. Kylie was at the table on her phone. Ellis was in the living room in his recliner watching a football game. How was your walk? Marilyn had asked me on Wednesday what I planned to do on Sunday. I had said take a walk. She had accepted the answer without following up. She rarely followed up on my answers. My answers were not the point of her questions. It was fine. Your sister needs the towels in the laundry room folded. The caterer sent back the linens this morning. I went into the laundry room. I folded the linens. I put them on the shelf. I sat down on the cot. I put my hand over the bracelet on my right wrist. I did not look at it. I already knew what it was. Kylie came to the door of the laundry room at 8 p.m. and stood in the frame with her phone in her hand and did not come inside. Ivy, Mom says you took Saturday off from the clinic without asking her. She's mad. I don't need to ask her, Kylie. I am 32. You know how she gets. I do. Kylie stood there for another second. Something on her face wanted to say something else. She did not say it. She walked upstairs. Monday morning, I drove to the clinic and I did my job. I flagged 3 charts. One of them was a warfarin discrepancy for a Miller patient. My accuracy score updated in the database at 4:14 p.m. It stayed at 99.8%. Tuesday at 11 a.m. I walked to the second-floor archive room during my lunch break. Box 4 was on the 3rd shelf from the top. I did not touch it. I stood there for 4 minutes. I walked back downstairs to the break room. I ate my lunch. Wednesday morning at 8:47 a.m. I filed an official records request in the clinic's internal system for my own birth chart from the Winona County Hospital archive dated August 12, 1993, Box 4, Folder 47. My supervisor, Dr. Owen Fitch, signed the release at 9:04 a.m. He did not ask why. He knew that anyone was legally entitled to their own record. The chart was pulled from the archive at 3 p.m. Wednesday afternoon and delivered to my desk in a records envelope with a records request label on the front. I did not open it. I put it in my locker. I locked the locker. I drove home. Thursday morning at 8:14 a.m. Beatrice Fenwick called me. Ivy, the results are back. I am reading them to you over the phone because I want you to hear them in this order. Rochester DNA Diagnostics case number 25-11814. The tested individual designated sample A and the tested individual designated sample B share 49.7% of their DNA. That is within the expected range for a first-degree biological relationship of parent to child. Sample A is Vivian Redgrave. Sample B is you. Vivian is your biological mother. I have printed 3 copies of the report. 1 is in my safe. 1 is with Vivian. 1 is in the mail to you by certified courier this morning. Do you have questions? 2. Ask. You did not test Marilyn. The DNA alone shows me as Vivian's daughter. It does not rule out Marilyn as a second biological mother, which is genetically impossible but not legally addressed. Ivy, I subpoenaed Marilyn's medical record from her general practitioner Monday afternoon. I have her blood type. She is O positive. Vivian is AB positive. Under the standard ABO inheritance chart, an AB positive parent cannot produce an O positive child. That is Mendelian genetics. Julia, the baby who died in November of 1993, was tested during the SIDS investigation and had type O blood. Julia could not have been Vivian's biological daughter. She could have been Marilyn's. Your blood type on file at the clinic is A positive. That is consistent with Vivian AB and Dr. Thomas Redgrave, who was A positive. It is not consistent with Marilyn O and Ellis A. The math holds 3 ways. Dina confirms it. Blood types confirm the reverse. Beat you to the second question. That was the second question. What is my third? How long has Vivian had my chart from the clinic? Since Monday morning. Her foundation is the archive's landlord. She did not need a subpoena. She reviewed it in my office at 11 a.m. yesterday. She did not tell you before the Dina result because she wanted the Dina result to be your evidence, not hers. Thank you, Beatrice. Ivy. There is one more thing. Say it. Marla Bracken agreed to talk to me this morning. She lives at Rochester Manor Nursing Home. I drove to see her at 6 a.m. She has been waiting for a phone call for 32 years. She signed a statement and gave me a small notebook she has kept in her purse since 1993. Would you like me to bring both to the archive room tonight? I sat with that for one full breath. Yes, what time? 10 p.m. I'll ask my mother and father and sister to meet me there at 10:30. I want you there at 10 with the file. Vivian? Also 10:30. I'll bring both. I want you to sit with that because it is the hinge of the whole night. I did not call my mother from my desk. I did not call her from my car. I drove home at 5 p.m. I made dinner. Marilyn was in the living room with Kylie looking at wedding photographs on Kylie's laptop. Ellis was at the kitchen table with a coffee. I set my keys down. I need the 3 of you at the clinic tonight at 10:30. Second floor archive room. Kylie too. There is something in the records I need to show you. I am telling you now so you can drive in together. Marilyn came in from the living room. Ivy, what on earth? It is Thursday night. What could possibly be at the clinic that requires all of us? A record. I would like the 3 of you to see it. Kylie will want to be there. Please come. Marilyn's hand moved into her purse. Out came the silver cigarette lighter. She flicked it open. She flicked it shut. Sweetheart, what is this about? It is about the record from the Winona County Hospital dated August 12, 1993. Marilyn's hand stopped moving. Ellis, at the kitchen table, set his coffee cup down. Ivy, I looked at him. Dad, we will be there. Marilyn's face did the thing my mother's face has done twice in my life. Once in 1998 when Vivian Redgrave stood on our porch and said her eyes remind me of my late husband. Once at 5:47 p.m. On Thursday, November 13, in the kitchen where the birthday photograph hangs on the wall. Kylie looked up from the laptop in the living room. What's happening? Kai, come tonight. That is all I am going to say now. If you have ever been the last person in your own family to find out what was done to you, comment the wrong bed below and hit subscribe. Because the next part is the one I do not think I will ever tell out loud again after this. The archive room at the Winona Valley Clinic is on the 2nd floor. Fluorescent lighting on a motion sensor. 11 sealed banker's boxes from the Winona County Hospital transfer of 1998 on 3 shelves along the north wall. A metal supply cart in the center. A single window overlooking the parking lot. I unlocked the door at 9:58 p.m. With my badge, I turned the lights on. I pulled box 4 down from the 3rd shelf. I set it on the supply cart. I pulled folder 47. I laid the folder on the cart. I did not open it. At 10:04, Beatrice Fenwick walked in with a leather satchel and a slim reporter's notebook wrapped in a plastic evidence bag. She set both on the cart. Ivy, Marla's statement. Marla's notebook. Rochester Dina case file. Marla's audio confession on my phone. I will play it when you ask. At 10:41, my parents walked in through the fire door at the end of the hall. Kylie was 2 steps behind them. Aunt Kathleen was behind Kylie. Nobody had told me Kathleen was coming. My mother had. Marilyn's silver lighter was in her right hand. She had not put it back in her purse since the kitchen. Ellis was in his church suit. He was carrying a records envelope. I had not seen it before. The envelope was yellowed at the edges. Kylie's eyes were red. She had been crying in the car. I looked at all four of them. Sit down on those chairs. There are four. Marilyn on the left. Ellis next to her. Kylie next to him. Kathleen on the right. Marilyn's mouth opened. Sit down, Mom. She sat down. At 10:52 the fire door opened again. Vivian Redgrave walked in, black coat, emerald scarf. She did not sit. She stood at the wall next to Beatrice. Marilyn saw Vivian for the first time in 27 years. She flicked the lighter open. She flicked it shut. Her hand was shaking. Ellis, in the second chair, closed his eyes. I lifted the folder from the supply cart. I opened it. I laid the first page on the metal surface. Document 1. Winona County Hospital birth chart. Patient number 9308247. Date of birth August 12, 1993. Mother's name Marilyn Callahan. Father's name Ellis Callahan. Delivered at 10:58 p.m. by Dr. Peter Landsman. Weight 7 pounds 4 ounces. Wristband number 47A. That is the record for the baby my mother went home with in August of 1993. That is the record for me. Marilyn was staring at the page. Document 2. I laid the Polaroid down next to it. Photograph taken by Winifred Redgrave at 11:47 p.m. That same night in the nursery. 2 bassinets. 2 name cards. Baby girl Redgrave on the left. Baby girl Callahan on the right. Wristband 47A is visible on the left baby's wrist in the photograph, magnified for the record. The right baby has a wristband that is not visible in the photograph. That means, per the hospital's own nursery protocol, that the wristbands were not yet placed on the right baby at 11:47 p.m. The right baby was still being processed. Kathleen said, softly, Marilyn, what is this? Document 3. The Rochester Dina report. I laid it flat. Rochester Dina Diagnostics, case 251844. Sample A, Vivian Redgrave. Sample B, me, 49.7% shared Dina. First-degree biological parent to child. I am Vivian's biological daughter. I was born in bed 1 of that nursery at 10:58 p.m. on August 12, 1993, and I was moved to bed 2 sometime between 11:52 p.m. and 6 a.m. by a second-shift nurse, whose name I will read in a moment. Kylie said, so quietly, nobody but me heard it, Ivy. Document 4. I lifted Marla's small pocket-sized reporter's notebook out of the plastic bag. I opened it to page 88. This is a notebook Nurse Marla Bracken carried in her purse from August of 1993 until this Tuesday when Attorney Fenwick retrieved it from her. Page 88 is dated August 12, 13th, 1993. It reads, in Marla's own handwriting, quote, $5000, comma, M, close quote. The M is not shorthand for Miller. The M is my mother. Marla Bracken was my mother's second cousin. She was on night shift that night. She clocked in at 11:52 p.m. Her signed statement, which Attorney Fenwick took this morning at Rochester Manor Nursing Home, states that she was paid $5,000 in cash by Marilyn Callahan to swap the babies in the nursery. She kept the notebook as insurance because she was afraid of my mother. She is currently prepared to testify. Her nursing license was revoked this morning at 7:30 a.m. Beatrice held up her phone. Do you want the audio? Play it. Beatrice tapped the screen. Marla Bracken's voice came out of the phone. Reedy, older than 63 sounds. Careful. I did it because Marilyn asked me to, and because I was 3 months from losing my house. My husband had cleaned out our savings the year before. Marilyn came to me on August 10th and offered me $5,000. She said she wanted a baby swap in the maternity ward the same night her own baby was born, and she named the family She said Vivian and Thomas Redgrave were on the delivery board that week. Marilyn had grown up hearing that Vivian's father had fired her uncle in 1971 from Redgrave Manufacturing without notice. She said she wanted the Redgrave baby specifically. She said the Redgraves would recover. She said they had more than one to lose. I told her yes. She gave me the envelope on August 10th. I swapped the babies at 2:14 a.m. on August 13th after both mothers had been medicated. Winifred had been in the nursery at 11:47 that night. I did not know she had taken a photograph. I would have moved earlier if I had known. I am sorry. I have been sorry for 32 years. I did not know the Redgrave baby was going to die 3 months later. I did not know that baby was Marilyn's biological daughter until Attorney Fenwick told me this morning. The recording stopped. Marilyn's face did the thing it had done in the kitchen. Then it did something new. She stood up. Marla is a liar. Marla has been a liar since we were children. Marla was trying to blackmail me for years. She came to my house in 2004 asking for $2,000 for her divorce lawyer, and I said no, and she has hated me since. Ivy, this is not what you think it is. Ivy, she is lying. I never paid her anything. I never asked her anything. I have raised you for 32 years. I have fed you. I have kept a roof over your head. I have never asked you for a thing. And you are going to sit here and take the word of a bitter woman in a nursing home over your own mother's. The lighter came out of her hand. She threw it at the wall. It hit the metal shelving between box 6 and box 7 with a small metallic sound. It bounced. It landed under the shelf. She did not look at it. Marla did this. Marla is the one who did this. If a baby was moved that night, Marla moved it, and I have nothing to do with it. She probably took the money from someone else. She probably swapped my baby with someone else's without me knowing. Beatrice's voice was quiet. Mrs. Callahan, Marla's statement identifies you by name as the person who paid her. The notebook page has your initial. The audio confession names you 3 times. This will be tested in a court. But not tonight. Marilyn turned on Beatrice. You are an attorney. You are supposed to know the law. That is hearsay. That is one woman's word against mine. That would not stand in any court. Ma'am, it is not hearsay when it is a signed statement, a written contemporaneous record, and a corroborating photograph with a timestamp. That is a fact pattern. And the statute of limitations does not bar this. Under Minnesota Statute 62826 Subdivision 12, the concealment doctrine tolls the criminal statute for as long as the perpetrator conceals the crime from the victim. Discovery was this week. The clock started this week. The civil action for fraud has a 6-year statute under Minnesota Statute 541.05. Running from discovery. That clock also started this week. I have taken the file to the county attorney this afternoon. Charges will be filed Monday. A civil action for fraud, dissipation, and restitution of trust assets will be filed Tuesday. This will be tested in a court. But not tonight. Marilyn opened her mouth. She closed it. She sat down. Ellis, in the second chair, opened his eyes for the first time since Vivian had walked in. He set the yellowed envelope on the supply cart next to the Polaroid. That is from my brother Robert. He gave it to his lawyer 3 months before he died. He gave me the letter in September of 2015, telling me his lawyer had it. I picked it up at the funeral in October. I put it in the safe. I have not opened it. I have known what was in it for 10 years. Ivy, I am asking you to open it now because my hands will not. I lifted the envelope. I broke the seal. Inside were 6 photocopied pages of Robert Callahan's own handwriting on Winona County Sheriff's Department incident forms. The first page was dated September 4th, 1994. The last page was dated May 12, 2015, 5 months before he died. The pages were an unofficial investigation. Robert had been suspicious for 21 years. He had interviewed Marla twice. He had interviewed the day shift nurse. He had pulled shift logs. He had photocopied Marilyn's checkbook register from 1993, which he had asked her for in September of 1994, on the pretext of an unrelated case. She had given it to him. He had photocopied the entry for August 10, 1993, which read, in Marilyn's handwriting, cash withdrawal $5,000, Marla. The last page was a note in Robert's handwriting from May 2015, 6 months before his heart attack. I did not have the heart to bring this to you, Ellis. I could not put my baby brother's family through it. I am leaving this with my attorney. If Ivy ever comes to know something is wrong, this is her paper. I am sorry, brother. I loved that girl the day I met her. Ellis was crying without making any sound. He stood up, walked around the supply cart, stopped in front of me. Ivy, I have known something was wrong since 1994. I did not know what. I did not want to know what. I let my brother carry it. I let you sleep in a laundry room. Your name suits you. It always did. I do not deserve to be your father, but you will be the daughter I loved for 32 years no matter what a piece of paper says. He walked past me, past the shelves, out through the fire door. He did not look at Marilyn. Kylie, in the third chair, was staring at the Polaroid. Her hand was on her mouth. Mom, Marilyn did not answer her. Mom, look at me. Marilyn did not look at her. Kylie stood up. Slowly, she walked to the wall of the archive room. She turned. She sat back down on the floor. Ivy, there was another sister. Before me. She died. Mom never told me her name. She said her name was cursed. She said we could not say it. I looked at Vivian. Vivian nodded once. At 10:47 p.m., I reached into the tote bag I had brought, and I took out the wooden-framed birthday photograph that had hung on my mother's kitchen wall for 26 years. Kylie in the center. Ellis on her left, Marilyn on her right holding the cake. The toe of my left sneaker in gray at the far right edge of the frame. I set the frame face down on the top of box 6. I did not say anything about it. I did not need to. Marilyn watched me do it. She did not stop me. I lifted 2 more documents from the folder on the supply cart. I laid them side by side. Document 5. Death certificate. Julia Redgrave, age 3 months. Cause of death, sudden infant death syndrome, filed by Dr. Thomas Redgrave, Winona County, November 12, 1993, Document 6. Certified copy of the blood typing performed on the SIDS infant in November of 1993 for the cause of death investigation. Julia was O positive. Document 7. Certified copy of Vivian Redgrave's medical record. Vivian is AB positive. Under Mendelian inheritance, an AB-positive parent cannot produce an O-positive offspring under any circumstance. That is not opinion. That is genetics. Vivian could not have been Julia's biological mother. Document 8. Certified copy of Marilyn Callahan's blood type from her family medicine record, subpoenaed Monday. Marilyn is O-positive. 2 O-positive parents can produce O-positive offspring. Marilyn was Julia's biological mother. Julia was Marilyn's biological daughter. Julia died of SIDS in Vivian's care because Marla had swapped her from Marilyn's bed into Vivian's bed on August 13, 1993. My mother had a daughter she did not know she had. And that daughter is buried in the Winona Municipal Cemetery 3 miles from this room, under the wrong last name. Because my mother thought she was buying somebody else's baby to replace the one she had lost. Marilyn made a sound. Not a word. The sound a woman makes when a piece of information enters her body for which she has no place to put it. She stood up. She walked to the wall of the archive room. She turned. She put her back to the shelves. That is not. Mom. Sit down. That is not possible. Marla told me the baby I was getting was from a couple that could not care for her. She told me the mother was going to jail. That is what Marla said. Beatrice spoke. Quietly. Mrs. Callahan, Marla lied to you. There is no such couple in the shift log. Marla swapped the babies at random from the two available. She has admitted this in writing. The baby you thought you were rescuing was a Redgrave. The baby you gave up was your own. Marilyn sat down on the floor. Kylie was crying. Aunt Kathleen was standing at the fire door with her hand on the frame. I closed the folder. I looked at Vivian at the wall. Vivian walked forward. She stopped at the supply cart. She lifted the small silver locket off her neck. She opened it. She looked at the photograph inside for the last time. She closed it. She set it on the cart next to the Polaroid. She did not read it. She did not quote it. She held it. She placed it. She stepped back. Julia, that was all Vivian said. Kylie heard it. She set it back, softly, to the floor. Julia, I said it too. It came out crooked. My voice, which had been steady since 10:04 that night, failed on the second syllable. I took one breath. I said it again. Evenly, Julia. Vivian's hand went to her mouth. I looked at Marilyn on the floor. Mom, my grandfather. My biological grandfather. Dr. Thomas Redgrave. He was on call at the Winona County Hospital the night I was born. He went home at 10 p.m. He died in 2011 not knowing he had a granddaughter who was still alive. That is the last document I have for you tonight. Winona County Hospital shift log. Attending obstetrician sign out timestamped 10:04 p.m., August 12, 1993. Dr. T. Redgrave. If he had stayed another 2 hours, he would have seen me before Marla moved me. I have thought about that for the last 4 days. I would like you to think about it too. I closed the archive box. I put the folder inside. I stacked the Polaroid, the Dina report, the 2 death certificates, the shift log, and Marla's notebook on the supply cart. I took the silver bracelet off my right wrist for the first time in 29 years. I set it on the cart, next to the locket. Beatrice, the originals go to your safe tonight. Copies to the county attorney Monday morning. Yes, Ivy. I looked at Marilyn on the floor. I did not say anything else. I did not need to. I walked out through the fire door with Vivian behind me and Beatrice behind her. The lighter stayed under the shelf. The maintenance crew found it 2 weeks later. Nobody claimed it. Here is what happened after. Marilyn Callahan was charged in December with parental kidnapping under Minnesota Statute 60926, felony parenting fraud, and conspiracy to falsify a vital record. She pleaded to a suspended sentence, 5 years of supervised probation, and $180,000 in restitution to the Redgrave Legacy Trust. She lost her position on the Winona Historical Preservation Society board. She cannot leave Winona County for 5 years. She lives alone in the house on Sycamore Street. Aunt Kathleen sold her own house in January and moved to Arizona. She has not returned Marilyn's calls since February. Marla Bracken's nursing license was permanently revoked. She pleaded to a suspended sentence and paid $12,000 in restitution. She works the night shift at a Quick Trip in Rochester. She has never contacted me. Ellis Callahan filed for divorce in January. He moved into a small rental above the hardware store he sold his half of. In February, he sent me a letter on yellow legal pad paper. 2 sentences. I knew something. I did not want to know what. I am sorry, Ivy. Your name suits you. I hope you keep it. I read it twice. I keep it in the top drawer of my desk. I have not written back yet. I might. Kylie sat in her apartment for 6 weeks after the archive room. She sent me one text message in February. I don't know what you want to be to me. I don't know what I get to be to you. I would like us to try to find out. I answered with one word. Sunday. We meet at a coffee shop in Rochester every Sunday afternoon. She is not my sister. She was raised by the woman who took me from the woman who was mine. We are both a wreckage of what happened in that nursery. We drink coffee together. I have not decided yet what she is to me. I like the meetings. Vivian moved the Redgrave Legacy Trust into my name in December. She refused to charge the Callahan family for the DNA test or the legal work. She put a plaque in the Winona County Hospital Foundation office, reading in memory of Julia Callahan Redgrave, August 12 to November 12, 1993, and for the daughter she was born beside. She takes me to the Winona Municipal Cemetery on the second Sunday of every month. There is a headstone that reads Julia Redgrave. She has ordered a new stone that says Julia Callahan Redgrave. It will be set in April. I set up the Julia Callahan Infant Safety Fund with $500,000 of the trust. The fund distributes free home cardiac monitors to newborns in 5 rural Minnesota counties. In the first year, it distributed 240 monitors. In the 4th year, it was credited with catching 3 undiagnosed heart defects that would have been SIDS deaths. I moved to Rochester in February. Small apartment above a bakery on 3rd Street. I took a position as senior medical records auditor at Mayo Clinic. My accuracy score reset to 100% on my first day and has not moved yet. I drove back to Winona on the 3rd Thursday of December before I moved because the Winona Valley Clinic's Christmas fruit basket for the Redgrave Foundation was going to be delivered the next day, and I wanted to be the one who signed it out. I stood at the loading dock at 4 p.m. On a Wednesday, in a coat I had bought myself with my first Rochester paycheck. I signed the delivery slip. I wrote the name Ivy Redgrave Callahan for the first time in my life. The dispatcher looked at the signature. He looked at me. He did not say anything. He handed me the yellow duplicate copy. I keep it in the top drawer of my desk with my father's letter and with a copy of Robert's investigation. I keep the Polaroid in a plain wooden frame on my desk. I keep the silver bracelet in a small ceramic dish next to it. In the top drawer are my father's letter, a copy of Robert's investigation, and the yellow duplicate slip from the fruit basket delivery. The chart from Box 4, Folder 47, is now in Beatrice Fenwick's safe. I want to say one thing before I go. I have spent 32 years reading other people's charts, verifying other people's names, flagging other people's discrepancies. I did not know, for 6 years of that my own chart was on a shelf 20 feet from my desk. My own name was misspelled at the top of it. The right baby was in the wrong bed. Every morning I walked past the record of what had been done to me. Every morning I did not notice. I was born in the wrong bed. That is the only sentence that ever mattered. If you have ever been the daughter reading the wrong chart, comment the wrong bed below. Share this story with the one person in your life who was misfiled in their own family. Subscribe to Calm Life Stories. Julia was my sister. She is buried under my last name. In April, the stone will be right. That is the whole answer.